Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm just here to bring you another of my junk journals and also another printable. So I'm just going to move the journal to one side for a moment. I'll just quickly show you the printable images. So this is a 2-page digital printable. It's basically an adapted letter dating from 1930. So basically I have altered the letter with obviously these beautiful images of the florals and this one here with the flowers and the bird. So what you've got is basically two kind of the larger letters and then two smaller ones to use as kind of journaling cards. And then on the side I've just done two lots of 2 tickets, if you see what I mean. So kind of per page you've actually got a total of 8 images. So, and it's a 2-page download, the first one being this one in colour and the next one is in kind of sepia tones, so they're the identical images just in kind of sepia tones really. And these I've printed here just for you know, to show this. I have printed them on ivory coloured cardstock. You know, so they're just, you know, kind of versatile little images that you can use obviously in your journals. So you could obviously print them onto paper and use these more like an actual conventional letter, you know, on paper, or you could obviously print them onto cardstock as I have done here. So, you know, kind of either or really. So I just wanted to come along and show you those. They're in my Etsy now. And then the other thing that I have obviously brought along to show you is my latest junk journal. So this particular journal I am calling Vintage Sage because inside it's kind of mainly a sage kind of green type colour. I have remembered to bring my tape measure. So the journal is 6.5 inches by just under, about 9, 6.5 by 9. And again, because I can't make them any other way, it's about 4 inches thick at the kind of widest part here. Obviously a lot of the thickness is due to the embellishments, not embellishment, sorry, the pull-out tags and things like that. So obviously once they came out you'd have, you know, a less chunky journal, although it would still be quite chunky. So if I just kind of show you around the outside, it's made from an envelope. It's covered in this beautiful fabric which I have coffee dyed and then obviously glued it on. It's then got some lace trim also coffee dyed there over the kind of spine, and then a coordinating fabric ruffle, which again just this fabric, so obviously again it's been coffee dyed. And then here I've just got a little charm hanging. This has all been rusted and it's just there hanging on this safety pin. I have then made a couple of fabric flowers. So these are both coffee dyed fabrics again, and they're just, you know, some flowers that I've made there. One's with a little diamante and one's just with this kind of button, which the button is not vintage, but it does look quite vintage. And then the closure is this kind of double ribbon closure. So it's just some satin ribbon which is actually kind of attached underneath the ruffle, so it is actually attached, you know, to the journal. So going inside, on the inside of the front cover, I have copied it, sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about, excuse me. I have covered it with vintage sheet music, so that's the kind of effect that's going on here. Then you've got this, which was from a vintage poem book that Laura gifted me, and it's just a little verse from there, so that's just on there. Got some applique here, a little bit of fabric ruffle, which is coffee dyed, and then one of my junk journal paper flowers. And then here there's just a kind of pocket with vintage image kind of layered up on there. Vintage stamp and a bit of faux de monte. And then here we've got a little pull-out journaling card that I've just popped another postage stamp, and this is just from my vintage book of the Master Builders things, so that's just in there like that. And then on the facing page here we've just got this pocket with again some vintage images. This is just from a vintage encyclopedia, some faux diamante and some lace trim at the top, a little flower, and tucked in there I've just got a little, hopefully you can see that, perfume bottle that's been printed onto acetate. Thought that was fun. And then on this next page there's a folding kind of flip with obviously just coffee dyed paper, so room for journaling there. It's got some sheet music here and a little flower. And when you fold it back this way, you've got a pocket here with various images layered up. This is from a vintage book, and this is a copy of, in fact, it's one of my printables, which I've just kind of distress inked and popped on there. Little clock, little butterfly, some lace trim and a bow, and some more vintage fabric ruffle. So that's that. And inside the pocket, this is one of my new folding kind of flip outs. So I'm going to do a tutorial on these hopefully next week, you know, once the kids are back at school, but it could be that it will be the week after, depending on kind of, you know, what's going on and how busy I am. You know, so basically I will be doing a tutorial on this. So this is just a little folding kind of booklet. It tucks into the flap here and then it opens out, and you've got obviously plenty of room for journaling. And it just tucks back in, oops, here like this, and it's all kind of neat and tidy then to tuck back in. So obviously these could be glued onto a page also, but I have obviously just used it as a little tuck. And then here we've got corner tuck spots with another image from the encyclopedia, some lace, little flower, some doily, and then here some more doily. It says make your own magic. This is a die cut from Catercraft, and then here I've got a vintage postcard. It is the original, just tucks in there. And then here I've just got a little pocket here, layered up various items, some vintage images and some lace trim, a little kind of denim heart there with a stapled on ticket. And then inside there, this is actually one of the principles that we kind of looked at the beginning of this video. And I've just literally printed it on the cream or the ivory cardstock, and then I've just distress inked it and folded it over to tuck in there. And then here on this page, coffee dyed paper and this gorgeous lady, which I managed to pick up these beautiful ladies. I have to say they cost me a lot of money. They were the original kind of lots and lots of kind of vintage ladies. They, yeah, made me feel sick kind of how much I had to actually pay to get them. But I am going to do something with them. I'm hopefully going to create some printables. I may do them as kind of cut out figures like this. I'm not sure. I might incorporate them into a kit. I haven't decided yet. And then I will probably try and sell the originals. You know, partially obviously to try and recoup some of the money that they actually did cost me. Had to kind of hide the receipt and things from my husband. But I absolutely loved them. So this is one of those, and I've incorporated quite a few in the book. It's a copy, by the way. It's not one of the originals, but it's all been distress inked, so that's on there. And then I've got here more of the coffee stained paper, just a little bit of embellishing going on at the top, some doily, more coffee dyed paper and some book page, one of my little printables there, just a torn off piece with some distressing, little fabric tip in there. And then on this page I've just got corner tuck, another image from the encyclopedia, and then this is again one of my little printables, which I've just made a little booklet with some coffee dyed pages in. That just goes in there. That's another one of the ladies that I just was talking about, and that's that. Then here I've got a corner tuck spot, another image from the encyclopedia, some faux diamante. By the way, I did have a very funny comment where somebody had asked me what photo Monty was, and I kind of replied saying I wasn't sure really what, you know, what that was. I wasn't aware I was saying that. And then somebody else replied and said, actually, I think you mean faux diamante. So it hadn't occurred to me that that was what I was saying, you know, that that was what faux Monty was coming across as faux diamante. So just for clarification purposes, that's what that is. Some vintage sheet music and a little bow, some fabric ruffle down there. And then here This is a little folding kind of booklet, and this is actually made from a DL size envelope. I have popped on lots of papers there for kind of journaling or photos, and also here you've got an opening to store more things. So it wraps around like this. Excuse me. Wraps around like that, and obviously slots in there. Now this was one of the bulkier pieces that I was talking about, so straight away obviously if you took that out, the journal's not so bulky. And obviously this could be a little standalone piece, you know, that you could kind of have out and have that just for memories of maybe a day out, or, you know, something like that. And then here I've got some more coffee dyed sheets, some more book page, some sheet music, another doily, little butterfly here, and more sheet music there. Here, this is a flap obviously from an envelope which is stitched in. This is one of my printable die cuts from my ephemera pack, and some lace trim. And then here I've just got this pocket, again an image from the encyclopedia, some of that faux diamante there, and some trim at the bottom. And then here another verse from the book of poetry, the vintage book of poetry, and a flower and a bit of a stamped image there. And then I've just literally got this little folding piece just with a couple of sheets of coffee dyed paper and some fabric trim across the top. And then going over the page, this is the centre of the signature. So you've got here, this is some of the ivory coloured hessian that Laura gifted me, love that. And I've got some lace there and a stamped image, little bow, some fabric ruffle, and then here I've got just a little tag with a butterfly, you know, Martha Stewart punched butterfly, and that's just held on with a bulb pin. And then here, just one of my die cuts, or sorry, not one of my die cuts, one of the Casecraft die cuts that I just thought toned really nicely with the page. And then up there, I've just got a little tag. So this has got one of my little, you know, ephemera pack printables, and another one actually from that set, and this one also is as well. So they're all just distress inked and popped onto the tag with some vintage book page, and then this little baby tag attached with a bulb pin and some lace trim at the bottom. And then on the next page I've just got this folding kind of flip here. So this has got a kind of vintage image, and it's got some lace trim top and bottom, a little heart and some lace, some doily and some flowers. And then underneath there I've just layered up a couple of stamped images. This one is acting as a little pocket. I've got another one of those ladies there, and inside that pocket I've just got this little pocket which is created from a little tiny envelope, and that again is another one of my little printables from the ephemera pack kit, and some sheet music, and that's just a little journaling card that slots in like that. That all slots in there, and then it's all hidden like that. And then on the next page here, this is just a pocket made from some sheet music which I've doubled over to give it more thickness. It's got some lace trim down the side and a little you know, a applique kind of flower. Another one of those ladies, some more little items from my ephemera pack printables, some lace trim, some faux diamante there, a little cluster in the corner, and then another one of my printables here that's just glued on just for decoration, and this is another one of my printables there that just I've distress inked and popped in. Here, this is the other part of that envelope from the flap. This is one of those ladies again, and I've just kind of stamped up round the corners and popped her on and distress inked everything. This is from my ephemera pack printables, and this is some faux diamante down here, little bow and a flower. And tucked in there I've just literally got a little kind of fold-in flip which I've just glued on some sheet music just for decoration, and this is just one of the, I think they're called fly sheets, those blank pages in, or fly pages, the blank pages that are in kind of the front and backs of books. I was not aware what they were called, but I overheard somebody saying on a video that that was what they were called, so hopefully that is the correct terminology. And that's one of those, so it is actually kind of a vintage piece. And then here there's some some coffee dyed paper with some stamping, doily, the other bit of the sheet music, and then book page, some more of those beautiful ladies, and then clipped on here with an altered paper clip. So this again was from my ephemera pack printables. I have made this little paper clip and I've just kind of pinched between the two bits of card this very soft net, which I just thought looked really pretty. So that just clips on this little kind of coin envelope, which I've just again popped an image from the encyclopedia, some sheet music, some lace and faux diamante, and inside there I've just done a kind of coordinating journaling card. So that just kind of slots in, and again this is quite a bulky embellishment, so again it's all kind of bulking the book out, and you know, if you weren't happy with the book being quite so chunky, if you took out some of these bulkier ones, then it would be obviously, you know, lay flatter. Then here on this page I've just got some string tied here with a little, again, folding kind of flip that just literally folds out like that with some coffee dyed paper, so room for journaling there. And then when it folds back, you've got these pretty images. This is some vintage book page, you know, image from a vintage book. Some lace trim, faux diamante, a bit more lace up here. And then that just ties closed again like that. And then this is acting as a pocket, which I have again tucked in another one of the letters from the printables that I showed obviously at the beginning of the video. Again, just distressing it up and pop it in like that. And then over the page I have got some fabric ruffle, and then this is one of those taller envelopes again, and what I've done an altered paper clip, whoops, which then was holding this closed, which is a little folding kind of flip, whoops, which just got glued down there. This has got, you know, 3 sides to it, and obviously, whoops, another couple of sides here. And then it's got an image from a vintage children's book, which I just thought was very sweet, so that's like that. And then when you fold that back, there's another image from the vintage encyclopedia layered up on some book page and some paper. Got some faux diamante there, and another flower here, and a butterfly. So that just paper clips on like that. And then tucked in the side, because it's also a side pocket, I've just got a little journaling card, which I've just made layering up various items. That just tucks in like that. And then in the top, I have just popped in a little kind of booklet. Again, this is from my ephemera pack of printables. And I've just popped in a couple of pages. Again, these are those blankish pages. Obviously these are kind of the title pages from inside a book, and they're just stapled in for extra room. That just goes in there like that. And then on the facing page I've just made a little kind of side pocket running down from some vintage sheet music, layered up a couple of images and some of this gorgeous kind of lace trim, little flower, and then tucked in there there's an envelope here which has been distress inked. It tucks in here behind the butterfly, and then inside there I have just again created just a little journaling card that just pulls out, so that just goes in like that and tucks in there. And again, that's quite bulky, so you know, again, if that came out it would be less bulky. Here on this page I've got a little kind of tuck spot, which again I've just layered up some images. This is a vintage image from a book, and some trim down the bottom, some faux diamante, one of my little butterflies here on sheet music that's been Mod Podged and distress inked, so it's got kind of 3 layers, and then it's got some pearl running down kind of the centre. And then tucked in there I've just got this little booklet, which this has been created from some brown paper bag. And basically I have just stitched around the paper bag to kind of double layer it, popped on some coffee dyed paper, little kind of journaling spot label there, and then really heavily distress inked this on the front. I wanted it to look very vintage. Love how it came out. So it's got some paper, sheet music, and another image from the encyclopedia. So again, this is reasonably chunky, so you know, again, this is kind of all adding to the bulk of the book, but you know, you could always take them out. And then here, some more coffee dyed paper, the other bit of book page, coffee dyed paper, bit of lace doily, and coffee dyed paper here. And here I've got a little kind of tuck spot with, again, that lovely ivory hessian, which I kind of Mod Podged around the edge to stop it fraying. Vintage encyclopedia image and some flowers from the other vintage book, some photomonte, a little quote here, dictionary definition, sorry. And then this here, this is another one of my kind of new style pockets, which again I'm going to hope to do a tutorial on in the next few days. So this has got another one of my ephemera pack printables, layered on some book page. I've done some fabric ruffle here, which I've just literally stapled on down the side. And when you open that out, it's a little pocket here. So it's kind of like a booklet with a pocket. And then tucked in there is a little journaling card. Again, these are from my ephemera pack printables. So that just literally tucks in, oops, like that. And again, you know, when I do the tutorial, I'll obviously talk a bit more about these, but the intention is, you know, this could be glued onto a page or used kind of like this, kind of loose. Just want to point out, I was obviously struggling with my sewing machine here, so I've got some kind of bunching of the thread going on there. I'm not quite sure, but obviously something to do with my tension. But it seems to obviously have stitched it okay, so I just wanted to point that out. Going over to the next page, I've got more of those lovely vintage ladies. This is another one of my printables from the ephemera pack printables. Oops, I've got a little empty space here, so what I might do is put that book page up there, which was probably what I'd kind of intended in the first place. So I'm just going to pop that up, and then here I've done this as a little tuck spot, so the clock tucks in behind the lady, and what you could do is tuck it like that so it holds the book page also. And then on this page I've got a bottom corner pocket and a massive tag here with, again, the ladies and various images. This was my ephemera pack printables and some ribbon at the top. And then here, this is the last page now. Just got this folding little kind of booklet, which just literally tucks in, opens up. It's all just coffee dyed paper. Another one of my ephemera pack printables, and then that just literally, oops, ties closed. And then I've just got a little tiny bit of fabric ruffle down the bottom, bit of lace, and then tucked in here, this is another one of my ephemera pack printables, as are these, and they're just literally on this kind of Kaisercraft die cut that I've just distress inked it all and popped it in as a little tag. And then here on the very inside cover of the back page, again, I used the sheet music, so some vintage sheet music, some fabric ruffle, which is all just coffee dyed, some lace trim as a kind of belly band, and tucked in there I've just got this vintage receipt, which actually is a printed copy which has been coffee dyed. So that just tucks in there like that. There's a little flower, and that's that. So the back is obviously plain, and then, as I say, it just literally ties up with the ribbon. So, and the ribbon is kind of doubled because I thought that looked really pretty. So just literally ties at the side with a bow. So I hope you like it. I love it. I think it's very pretty and very vintage. So yeah, I hope you like it. And it's obviously in my Etsy shop now. So thanks very much for watching and have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye.